Hello everyone, in this video we're going to talk about flying with wind in the backcountry and regular airports. In this case I'm landing in Copalis Beach. This is an airport in Washington which is at the beach, and we always get very laminar steady wind. It's always windy, but it's always very steady wind. It's like a fan. No turbulence at all, no gusts. These are the easier conditions I've ever seen in windy days, because you just land at a much slower ground speed. Here is another example. My friend is landing his carbon cup. The wind is very steady. You can see how slow he approaches, and the touchdown is a very slow speed. You can see here that we have mountains on the background, but in front of the airplane is a large, long, flat area with no obstacles. This is why the wind is very steady in this area. Once we get into the mountains, everything gets more challenging. This is a view of Mount Rainier in Washington. On this day I was only able to take these videos from far away, because once I got close to the mountains I had severe turbulence. I hit my head 3 times with the ceiling of the airplane, and it was a really rough flight. Here is a lenticular cloud on top of Mount Rainier. If you ever see this, turn the other way and find better weather. This is Stehekin Airport in Washington. It is in the mountains. It gets very windy and very turbulent. Here my friend Jughead is taking off with Cessna 170. He stays on ground effect to get more speed, and once you are crossing the trees you have a lot more authority, or you are not climbing at slow speed because the gusts can get you. On this takeoff the wind is coming from the north through a valley, so it gets very fast and very turbulent. I have experienced windy conditions in Stehekin and can tell you that's very challenging. Again, this is Stehekin in Washington. Another windy day. I'm approaching in the 182. I'm coming with full flaps. I try to aim for the first 100 or 200 yards of the airstrip, and not the very beginning, because it is too close to the trees and there is turbulence. If you look at the airspeed indicator in the top left of the instrument panel, you see the needle is bouncing up and down. That shows you that it's very gusty. So what I learned and I try to do when it's gusty and it's a backcountry airport, I'm always ready with a throttle, compensating and correcting, adding or reducing power. You want to come a little bit faster to compensate for the wind gusts, but you don't want to come too fast where you're floating all the way down the runway. Here we're flying a Cessna 206 to Tobias Bolaños Airport in Costa Rica. We have a ravine just before runway 9. Because of this ravine, the wind creates a downdraft. I have experienced many times this downdraft. The downdraft is just right here at this moment. You see the plane sinks a little bit. The pilot is carrying good speed for this landing, so we have no problems. Again, same airport, Tobias Bolaños in San Jose, Costa Rica. This time I am flying my Cessna 182. You can see I am coming quite high, and the reason I'm doing this is because I want to avoid the downdraft that the ravine creates for runway 9. This runway is plenty long for a Cessna 182, so I aim for Alpha 2, the second intersection. There is still like 3,000 feet more to stop the airplane, so there is plenty of runway left. So when seeing a ravine before the runway, and if the runway is long enough, it's not a bad idea to come high to avoid downdrafts. In Costa Rica, between December and April, we get full 4 months of windy conditions every single day, so we get to practice it a lot. When flying in the mountains, it is recommended that when you cross ridges and mountains, you do it at an angle in case there are turbulent or downdrafts on the other side. It's easy to get out of there instead of if you approach at a 90-degree angle, you will have to do a 180 to get out. But if you do a shallow angle, it is much easier to get out of a dangerous situation. I really try to avoid flying in the mountains when it's windy. I think things can get really dangerous, and even with a powerful airplane, sometimes you might not be able to fight turbulent conditions at high altitude and mountains. Every time I fly in Idaho, I try to get up as early as possible and start my flight very early and be finished by 11 a.m. at the latest. This way I fly in really nice, steady conditions and no wind. Idaho has lots of steep canyons, and the wind creates lots of turbulence and definitely makes it dangerous and very challenging, which I don't find to be much fun. Another advantage when flying in Idaho to start early is that you get better performance because the weather is much cooler. The temperature changes a lot during the day, so you have very crisp and cool mornings that will give you very nice performance, plus the calm winds. Later on, you will not only lose performance, you will also be affected by the winds. This is probably my worst landing ever. It's my first landing at ski jump. It is a windy day, and I had some sort of quarterly tailwind. This wind was accelerated near the trees, creating turbulence. I'm talking to the owner on the radio. He's telling me that no matter what, I cannot go around because it is a steep uphill, and on top of that there is power lines. First, it was very challenging to find the airstrip because it just looks like grass, mountain, and it had not much definition from the air. Here I'm coming too fast, the ground speed is fast. I should have aborted here and then avoid any problems, but I learned my lesson. I continued the landing and it was very rough. Now it's kind of late to go around, so I just do the landing. I try to put the airplane sideways so it creates more resistance to the tires and slows me down. I didn't know how much farther or how much more of the grass strip was ahead. This was a good lesson. Beware of the quarterly tailwinds. I waited for the wind to calm down a bit and then went out and did 3 takeoffs and landings, so I would feel more confident to come back again to this airstrip. This is Ranger Creek in Washington. Here is another lesson. Came too low and too slow over the trees, and Even the day was pretty calm. I got a downdraft just when I was slow over the trees. So no need to come this low for landing because the runway is pretty long, so you can land farther ahead, come higher, and it will be safer. Another landing with steady wind, no turbulence at all, very steady, so it's slowing you down, but you can approach with confidence because there's no turbulence or downdraft or updraft, so you just can land very slow. In my case, I really try to avoid windy days when flying in the backcountry. It creates a lot more risk. Gravel bars definitely not. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be aware of tailwinds, quarterly tailwinds, crossing mountains, and turbulence between the trees. Please, if you want to support Backcountry 182, join me on Patreon. Thank you for watching. See you next time. It is very easy to join, to be a patron of Backcountry 182. Go to the YouTube channel. On the right hand side there is the link, and then it takes you to the Patreon page. Here you can see all the tiers and what is all about, the support for Backcountry 182 YouTube channel. Also, another way to access the Patreon link is in the description of the video I put in YouTube. On Backcountry 182 channel there is a link for Patreon, so just click on that and it will take you to the page. Thank you for watching. It would be amazing if you guys are interested and give some support.